the next episode of my USA Let's Play. This will be number 14. Right back where I left off, we were just wrapping up Norway. We had invaded North Africa. Our goal again was to come over to Tunis. We're going to make that our main base in this part of the world. We're going to use that to get the Suez Canal back so the Brits can use it. Remember, the Japanese have taken basically everything in the Pacific. They've got Australia, they've all but got New Zealand, the Philippines, all of the Dutch East Indies, and they're working on India, as you can see. So my goal right now, my carrier fleet, I only use 3 carriers and 3 light cruisers and 1 battleship fleet, which is 2 battleships, a heavy cruiser, and 3 light cruisers to start with, because of their destroyers' limited range. I don't have, once the destroyers have a much higher range, I'll add a destroyer or 2 in these fleets, the battleship fleets. But in the Pacific, they had some engagements last episode, and I took them back to Pearl so they could rest, and now they're good to go again. We do not yet have any conquests. I'm going to start that shortly. I need to get some more forces over to the Pacific, and you can see, if you remember, I with the superior firepower, I've got 5 in each corps. That's 3 infantry, 1 artillery, and 1 anti-tank. And the reason I use the infantry and the anti-tank, even though I'm going to be using these leg soldiers to fight in the Pacific, is I'm looking forward. I'm looking ahead. Eventually, once Japan and the Axis are down, I'm going to attack Russia, and I'm going to use my leg infantry to come in through the east of Russia. And they're good with the artillery and the anti-tank. Then I'll use mechanized to come in through Europe. So it'll be a 2-part pincer. Hopefully that's the ultimate plan. So we're going to send these. I don't yet have any forces to send out there. I don't remember if I have, let me see if I have any more transports. I've got a few transports. I would like to refresh myself and see if okay, apparently I cannot yet build well, I can build assault ships. Well, we definitely want to get some of those in the queue. I've got 2 fleets of assault ships right now. One of them is the one that excuse me, brought the 3rd mechanized to Africa. Let's see where the first mech is. Okay, the first mech and the second mech are going to be in Norway. They're wrapping up there. Third mech is in North Africa. The 4th mech is setting. Okay, here we go. Give these guys a leader, and once again, I do give the mechanized units a excuse me, offensive leader, usually level 3, and then all of his subordinates I'll give level 1, because they level up fairly fast during combat, so I think that's fine. Transport fleet number 9 over to Boston. I'm going to move the Pacific transport fleet over to Norfolk, and that's going to start moving my leg infantry. Now these guys, I always try to give logistics, because they're going to be fighting in locations that are not always optimal for getting supply in. So I give them logistics wizards. And where possible, like this also is a logistics wizard and an offensive doctrine, so that core commander gets that, and it is pronounced core as in K-O-R or C-O-R-E. It's not corpse, as I hear a lot of people saying. So we'll give them all logistics wizards. That will come in handy later on when we're fighting the Russians, if it all goes according to plan and we get that far. Alright, so 9 is coming. Port fleet 9 and 0. I'm going to send out the carrier fleet down here to patrol. I'm going to back him up with the battleship fleet. Japanese on these islands, so they have to be supplying them with convoys. Again, speed 4 for now. Alright, good. Like all that being built up. It's going to come in handy when we start assaulting the Germans. I'm gonna send Nimitz in to the Med just to see what. Let's put him on patrol right here. We're gonna send in Spruance to back him up with his battleship fleet, or maybe not. He might not have the range because of the destroyers. Actually, it might be the light cruisers, only 2,500 range. Let's try to rebase the battleship fleet. To Alger, then bring him over here, see if he'll make it now. Yep. Okay. Right off the bat, we're already starting to sink Japanese transports. That's good. Upgrades, reinforcement. Better get some supplies. I can see that I only have 2 diplomatic influence, and it takes at least 3. So I need to give my AI some more diplomacy points so that it can start getting me some more supply in. That's right. And while your fleets are taking out the convoys, your commanders will be getting experience. You can see that Halsey is at skill 5, experience 2230. And as they're sinking stuff, okay, even Nimitz and Sprints are now sinking stuff. Oh, look at here, we got a port strike coming up. I'm gonna pause the game because you can see we've discovered some Italian units, and I'm gonna park right off their coast. I'm gonna do a port strike. I like doing port strikes. In Alexandria. Looks like they've got some cruisers and destroyers. Transports. Okay, there's 8 of them. Pause that while we take care of this. Back to the action. Looks like doing a little damage to them. Excellent. Taking out their anti-aircraft guns and doing damage to the naval base. Taking it down nicely. And we ran into a Japanese fleet. Let's see how this goes. Looks like the battleships are quicker to bring in the carriers if they can make it. King can hold his own, but I'm worried about that one single carrier, the Kaga. So I want Halsey to get in there. And it looks like the Battles completed. Nobody lost any fleets, but the Japanese are now gonna, looks like they're gonna try to go into Palmyra. So I'm gonna hold off, let Halsey stay right here, because as you can see, the Japanese fleet is headed in this direction. He will ambush him, and then I'm gonna have King come up behind him. You can see he's hurt, but I don't care. That's the name of the game. The U.S. can afford to sacrifice ships because they can replace them. The Japanese cannot. So if you can knock out as many Japanese ships as possible, you're ahead of the game. Okay, and Halsey's got him. Let's see if we can do some damage here. Nope, they'll go into port. We're going to go north just to make sure they don't bypass. Okay, nope, they are in port. Okay, so we're going to come back to port. Boy, that one light cruiser is really hurting, only 13%. And I'm going to immediately port strike. As I'm already port striking Alexander, I'm going to go back and check on that. There's still 8 units left. CAGs are getting low on organization. We're going to let them keep going for now. Now let's check out here. The Kaga, the Kuma, and destroyers. Look at here. Now, Italy sortied with a battleship fleet. Now what I'm going to immediately do is take my CAGs, turn them off of port strike and put them back on CAG duty so they can participate in this fight. Now let's see how this goes out. It's 12 ships versus 5. Nimitz versus Toscana. And nobody lost any. But you see the Italians are going to head right back into port. What is I'm going to take my CAGs and immediately start port striking again. And going back over here. Palmyra. Oh, they've lost the destroyer. Now they're just down to Kaga and the Kuma. Look at the damage on the Kaga. Let's take a look at that. That aircraft carrier is in strength, and the light cruiser down to 15. So chances are we're going to sink both of them. Let's check in on. All right, we're out of organization. Go back to CAG duty. Now I'm going to leave Spruance here with the battleship fleet. I'm going to run back and park Nimitz. Actually, I don't have to go that far. My allies here. I'm going to go to Athens and park in the British captured port of Athens so that I can help repair and reorg my units. A lot of people will have, when they make aircraft carriers, they make extra CAGs for them. I don't do that. I don't like swapping them out because what I have on the map is what I'm going to play with. I'm not going to. Most people, what they would do now is they take these CAGs and they'd put them on an airbase and then pull in a fresh set of CAGs. I don't prefer to do that. Uh-oh, looks like we've. Again, immediately put these on CAG duty. Let's see what Halsey and Spruance can do. King. I've lost a light cruiser. All right, now I'm going to pause the game. See what I've got here. 2 battleships and submarines. I'm going to immediately grab a new light cruiser. I'm going to send him on his way to Hawaii. Because I'm going to need a replacement for the one I just lost. So we'll send him on his way to Hawaii. Looks like this is a serious Japanese fleet. I've lost another light cruiser. Alright, at this point, I'm going to withdraw because the wrong people are sinking. The Japanese are supposed to be sinking, not me. Now that I know that there's that carrier fleet out and about, I need to grab another light cruiser and also send him to Hawaii. And what I'm going to do also, notice I have some level 6 light cruisers, but I want to send the level 3 because I expect them to get destroyed at this stage of the game. So I don't, my highest level I save for the carrier fleets. Excuse me again. And Spruance is keeping this fleet bottled up, I hope, while Nimitz reorgs and repairs. We'll get everybody in here. While they're doing that, let's check on our transport fleets so we can bring the first over to Hawaii. And again, I'm not going to click on anything here. I'm just going to click on Hawaii and click accept. That automatically gives a transport. So that transport will come over, drop these troops off on Hawaii, and then turn around and go right back. Let's move the second down. Grab the 4th mechanized. We're going to bring the 4th mech over here. Actually, for now, we're going to bring him to Casablanca. Alright, sports. Looks like the Italians, we got some fighters going. The Brits got, okay, the Brits got enough there. Corpus Christi. There comes our first light cruiser. And our fleet's gonna really need a lot of rest there. You can see that North Carolina was down to the 20s. Probably lower than that when she first birthed. Third birth there. Okay. Let's check on Norway. Norway is doing well. They're doing what I told them to do some time ago. Now, I'm a little hesitant. It seems real difficult to keep up the supply just through convoys. So I'm going to put some points into supply. Alright, come on, sports. Don't let them leave. Good, we sunk another transport. Let's look at our armored cars. They're up to 44. That's good enough for now. Airplane, I always try to keep, and I always want to keep the light bomb and air launch torpedoes when it comes to when you're still actively engaged in the Pacific. At this stage, I'm going to keep the anti-aircraft theme going here. Okay, it looks like both light cruisers have made it to Hawaii. So we'll take both of those and King and add them together. So now we've got a complete fleet of 6 again. That's how I prefer to operate. 6 and 6. Armored car, that should bring that up to 44 also. And let's go back to anti-aircraft. Alright, you can see that Nimitz is almost back to full strength. No damage yet to speak of. Normally, I don't start worrying about damage until we get below 50%. I'll send, if I need to, I'll send fleets out with 75% or higher damage in the combat. Delay doctrine. 44. Now we want to go to escorts and anti-aircraft. Boy, that battleship was really hammered. I don't recall if I have the first armor. Now I've got the fourth over here, fourth mechanized. We got enough units to go ahead and have Williams, Giroux, try to walk into Tunis. We'll have Thompson walk over into Alger. I want to change the direction. I want to make sure we get everything here that we can, not just the coastline. This guy's going to get the coast all the way up to here. Okay. And you want to go walk all the way to Alger. Alright, it looks like we're back up to 91%. Small arms. Normally, I would cut this off. I'm going to go ahead and let the small arms, the infantry tech, still don't seem to have enough. Go ahead and let the infantry tech continue. And these CAGs are 94.5 is the lowest one, so about 2 more days. They should be back to their strength enough. By the way, someone asked me this before via a YouTube message, and I'm gonna demonstrate right now. You can see this CAG is only 96.1% strength, and it's been sitting in a harbor and repairing. I'm going to bring it out of the harbor. It's now out at sea, and I'm going to show you it will repair 97.1. Notice when midnight ticked over, now when it ticks over again, it will still repair even though they're out at sea. They're sorted. Went from 97.1 to 98. And it looks like the Brits just ran out of supply also. And so you can see even when they're out moving around, they still will repair and reorg. Just thought I'd mention that. All right, so it's back up to 100 now. Just in time. Look at that. We're going to get another transport squad. Excellent. Right, we're going to take the 2nd Army Corps. We're going to move them to Hawaii also. We're going to get another transport. What have we got here? I sure wish those sliders worked better, because when you lock them, clicking on one, notice it turns colors. It's supposed to lock it. It's never supposed to move, but it always does. It never stays locked, and that is just so annoying. Yes, we'll sink all those Italian transports. That's going to help the Brits out, and ultimately it's going to help us out. Elastic Defense and Mobile Armor Company. And we're going to complete the destroyer anti-aircraft. Got everything up to 44, or working on it. We're going to leave this going. Let's check our theory. Our air. Now, on the air tab, the things that affect CAGs, it's everything that is fighter. Notice it says interceptor fighters. When you click on it, it tells you interceptor fighters, CAGs, and rocket interceptors. So everything that's fighter, the fighter pilot and the fighter ground crew training affects CAGs. Those two things. Now, also the nav pilot, notice it, CAG organization, the nav ground crew. Now, a lot of people may not think of this because they're only thinking of fighters. but CAGs are also a type of bomber, you see. So these two, your port strike helps your CAGs, obviously, which I'm going to give right now. The naval strike helps your CAG duty efficiency. And also in the CAS, notice your CAS pilot training, CAG organization, and your CAS ground crew, again, CAG morale. So you need the first two in this one, the first two in this one, and about 4 in this slot. All of those affect CAGs. Just thought I would point that out. What did we have? All right, we got some self-propelled artillery, and that's going to go with mechanized. And I just realized I think I moved my mechanized units over here without giving them. I sure did. All right, that's perfectly fine because now I can take them, plop them on the ground, self-propelled arty. That will be 6 for the 3rd mechanized, or the 2nd mechanized. Actually, all of them, I believe. We'll move them all over to Casablanca, and then from there, you can only add directly to, for example, the 1st Armored Corps is here in the States. So I could drag and drop directly to the Armored Corps. You notice that they do not have self-propelled artillery, and I want them to have self-propelled artillery, so I just drag and drop because they are in my continental homeland, the United States. But for units that are already overseas, the mechanized units have already shipped over, I have to manually move the self-propelled artillery brigades over anything because you can only deploy them on your homelands. All right, so let's take all these over to Casablanca, and I want to rebase here for a moment. Sink those transports. That'll slow them down greatly. All right, that freed up a lot of IC right there. In fact, I'm going to see if I can get some supplies going. And this looks like a good time to stop. Again, my ultimate goal, come over here, make Tunis a large base, and then I'm going to free or liberate the Suez Canal for the Brits. And then as soon as you can see, I've been moving over the ground force. As soon as my battleship fleet is back up to snuff, I'm going to come over and I'm going to take Midway, and then I'm going to take Wake, and then we're just going to start island hopping. Now, a lot of people would just go straight to Japan. That's really not my cup of tea. I prefer to actually do the island hopping. Now, I will leave these little islands. What I'm really interested in is islands with airfields. So what that means to me is Kwajalein, Eniwetok, Truk. Now, historically, the U.S. in World War II bypassed Rabaul. We just cut it off and starved it out. We didn't want to spend the manpower to fight them, but I'm going to liberate Australia and New Zealand, which means I'm going to actually attack Truk because that's a huge naval base, and that's going to be my point of operations for launching into Australia. Then I'm going to come across and I'm going to liberate the Dutch East Indies. I'm going to cut off the Japanese from behind. I'm going to take their ports, and if I have enough troops, I'm going to actually start slogging overland in India to cut them off behind their line of supply so the Brits can hold. This is a two-pronged operation. We are actually allies and we need to work together, so that's what we're going to do. Then I'm going to take all of Indochina, the Philippines. I'm going to take everything up to Naha. Once I've owned all of this, in the meantime, while I'm doing this, I'm going to attempt to have strategic bombers bombing Japan. I'm going to have, if I decide to do so, I don't generally do, but I may bring subs over and start starving them. We want to cut off all their resources, bomb them to oblivion, and then and only then will I launch an assault into mainland China. I will save the islands. Uh, Generally, I save the islands for last, but I may, once I've got all of this Pacific holdings cleared out, I may go ahead and go into mainland Japan. We'll just have to see, and I'll catch you next time.